Going on, guys? Welcome to our week ahead call. All right. So, for those that just joined the group, the first thing I want you to do is just go to the start here so that you could just watch the welcome video, just so you could get familiar with the Discord. All right. Because I know at first it looks overwhelming, but each tab has a purpose. Right. So, I just want you to watch it first. Don't just jump right into just trading and joining live calls. Get to understand what's really going on in the group just so that you could have a better idea. Okay. But this is like what I love to do is the week ahead. So this is what helps me, get prepped for the week. And this is why I give it to you guys. Right. So if certain things happen moving forward, you're not going to be shocked by it. You're going to be expected to take advantage of these opportunities, right? Or it helps you be disciplined and wait. So when we start this off, right here, I said that tariffs is going to get taken place again April 9th. So on Wednesday, we're going to see another roll of tariffs coming into the markets. So it gives you an idea how this week is going to go because just look what happened last week when tariffs came into the markets, right? So we have something to pay attention to moving forward. So just to throw it out there, this is just a weekly prep. We're just going to go over economic data, news events, and how the market's been going. And then from there on out, however you like to trade, just wait for those opportunities if you're a fundamental trader. So last week, tariffs went into effect. And with that going on, right, that was just exactly what the market's just been waiting for the whole week. For since Trump came in office, they've been waiting for that to come into effect. And he's been saying, I want to do it April 1st, but people would think it's a joke because it's April Fool's Day. So I'm going to do it on the 2nd. And the market's just been risk off ever since. We've been seeing equity markets take a tumble. We've been seeing goals hitting all time highs. So now that tariffs come into effect, we see that the percentages that he's charging those tariffs. So now moving forward, we need to pay attention to, are we going to see tariffs continue to escalate, or we're going to see it start to de-escalate? Because that's what's really going to determine market sentiment moving forward, right? And then after that, we had NFP data and unemployment. The data came out mixed. We had stronger NFP numbers, but unemployment data actually got worse. So that's not a really strong opportunity to trade. But if we're looking at it from a growth perspective, it still shows that the labor markets for the United States is still doing very well. So it's hard to look at that type of print and be like, yeah, recession is going to come. Fed should cut rates. But after tariffs, we should really be getting an understanding on how economic data is going to start really impacting the markets due to tariffs. So probably we're in April, May, June. Those next 2 months is going to be extremely important to see how the economy is going to shift and go. Okay. So when it came to market reactions, we saw equities continue to just dump for the week. And then we saw that gold did rise as a safe haven, but on that Friday, we saw gold actually hit new lows. Okay. So moving forward, still focusing on tariffs and geopolitical tensions, right? It's still going to be the main focus. We're going to see this week we have tariffs and important economic data. We have U.S. inflation, we got U.S. CPI, and then we got U.S. PPI. So inflation is definitely a main focus for the central banks. And then we have one rate decision. It's the RBNZ. There's the New Zealand rate decision. That's the NZD currency. For those that don't know, that's the rate decision that we have for this week moving forward. Definitely we're going to be trading it live. So Tuesday is the RBNZ rate decision. Wednesday, we have Fed meeting minutes. So Fed meeting minutes is just a summary of the last rate decision. And the goal is just to see if they change up any wording that could lead to an opportunity, right? If like an example, they said that growth was doing well, and then this meeting minutes, they say that growth is going to be a problem. They're looking for any little changes during the Fed meeting minutes in order to look for a tradable opportunity. Then on Thursday, we have US CPI data. It's inflation, so definitely very important. And on Wednesday, US PPI is just another inflationary print that also impacts the markets. Okay, so we had important headlines over the weekend. And I see a little bit of de-escalations, right? We see that Vietnam, Taiwan, they're looking to cooperate and offer to remove U.S. tariffs, right? So meaning that they're looking to charge the U.S. zero tariffs so that they could get charged zero tariffs. And I think this is important for Vietnam, Taiwan, because a lot of their exports is more like US companies. It's like clothes, like apparel, right? Is coming from these companies that like coming from those countries. So if you're looking at individual stocks like Nike or like other companies that is in an apparel situation, just look at their stock price, see how they if you see a rise in those stock prices, right? Because we see that overall, if we look at equity markets, we already see that they're just taking a huge tumble to the downside. So if you're looking at individual stocks, seeing those countries actually looking to negotiate and put zero tariffs, right? Because it's going to be reciprocal, it could cause those type of companies to start gaining strength. And then also we could possibly see some upside in equities if we see comments like this continue with more countries, where we also have Lutnick saying that there's no postponing the tariffs. I think that's going to be the main focus for this week. But before that, let me look at don't see tariffs is not a risk to recession, right? Tariffs is going to stay in place for weeks. So when we're looking at tariffs now, because they're already implemented, saying that they're not going to postpone tariffs, a tradable opportunity will be if they postpone tariffs. So if they're supposed to come in on the 9th and then they don't do it on the 9th, right? Expect a hawk, like a strong reaction in equity market. We're going to see US 30 NASDAQ rise. We're going to see gold push lower, right? Safe havens is going to get weaker. AUD, NZD, CAD pairs get stronger because if they postpone it, they're pushing back. So if they actually go through with it, don't think markets will really care as much. We'll probably still see a risk off market, right? Weaker equities, stronger gold, safe havens getting stronger, but it depends on the percentages and how he's going to escalate them, right? So paying attention to April 9th, right? Days before that, and also that day, we got to figure out what time is going to be that press conference again. And then we're going to see how the markets react to it because lately, every time they mention tariffs, markets just complete risk off. So that it's going to be plenty of really good opportunities this week that we're going to focus on, even regarding news headlines. Okay. So, like right here, what else is important is that we see that 50 countries has already reached out to Trump on tariffs. So the reason why that's important, right? If those conversations is coming out positive, we're not going to see that risk off market we've been seeing for the past 3 months. We're going to probably see some recoveries in the stock markets if we see that those conversations are actually better than expected. But if we see more retaliation, like more countries start jumping in with China, that's where we probably going to see those recessionary fears come in place. Below that, Russia and America is likely to meet this week. That is because of Russia, Ukraine. We want to see how how that commentary is going to impact the markets as well. If we're going to see de-escalations, is a ceasefire going to extend? Because remember, it was 30-day ceasefire. Is that going to extend, or are they going to push away from the ceasefire? Are they going to add more concerns towards a ceasefire? So that's what's also going to help the markets too. So definitely something to focus on when it comes to that. Earnings this week. The only thing that's important is Friday we have bank earnings. All right. So it's important from a sentiment perspective. If we see that bank earnings is having drastically bad numbers, that's going to cause more of a recessionary outlook as well. But good banking numbers is it's just good for those individual stocks, but it's also a good expectations for the markets, for the economy. Okay. So Friday is banking earnings. So something's for us to focus on from a sentiment perspective. And these are central bank speakers, like coming out with their times for, like, if you're focusing on euro and all that stuff. I just put it here. If you guys are interested, whatever currency you're looking at, you could just pause it, screenshot it, write it down so that you could be aware of what time. This is all in Eastern time as well. And then in the bottom is Fed speakers. So you get all the times and the day that these Fed speakers is going to speak so that you're not surprised by it, because sometimes their comments can move the markets depending on what they say. All right. So that's what's going to be extremely important. So, but for you guys, before you even trade live, right, I want you guys to watch this video. Like, work on this was a really good call today for our trading psychology every Sunday. Watch this video, right? And then just go over the course as well. When you finish, I want you guys to go over the course. I want you guys to start watching the videos and applying the information. Okay. Like this week, try to be very strategic with your trading plans, right? Wait for those opportunities to come present. Just like on Friday, when China came out with that headline, just a perfect example. I took buys at 6 a.m. and 6 a.m. is when I'm dropping my kids off at school. I took buys here because China came out and said that they was going to implement more tariffs on the US. That is escalations, right? We know that would increase the price of gold. I had no drawdown. And this was the trade that played out for the day that everybody that took advantage of it. Just waiting for opportunities, right? Obviously, the technicals do align for the sells, but it's just showing you how easy the trades are going to be when you're taking advantage of those headlines, those news headlines, but understanding how to take advantage of it. So watch the course as well. So when it's coming to focusing on the markets, I know market open. I don't really see anything that should be something major for us to focus on, even though that we have those headlines, right? But just be cautious today on Sunday. Wait for those reasons to come in place. Understand like what's really going on, and know that we do have really good data coming out that could lead to really important opportunities. All right, guys. So trade safely. If you guys have any questions about what to, anything, leave it on the comments. Like, subscribe. And also, if you're interested in a private group, just go to my bio, click the link, or just message me on Instagram. Okay. So this is just a weekly prep. So any of these events, I will do updates for you guys later on in the week so you could have good tradable opportunities. All right. So have a good one. Enjoy your Sunday. And any questions, again, don't hesitate to reach out.